Alright. Holidays are over, let's get back into this. Fairy Tales, chapters 515 and 516. Crazy stuff. Let's get into it. So let's start off with chapter 515. We find out exactly more on the details of the background of Eileen Belserion. We found out that she was in a diplomatic relationship, a diplomatic marriage with another country. Pretty much humans team up against dragons, with the dragons that were against the dragons that were against dragon-human co-population. Man, that was a mouthful, but anyway. We find out that they were two together fighting along each other. Pretty much are all buddies along with Belserion. And pretty much all the Dragon Slayers, pretty much the whole deal with them becoming berserk, becoming dragonified, whatever you want to call it. And we find out that Eileen also suffered from these causes, pretty much like the chapter before, 514. She had a chip of scales on her cheek, and pretty much it got worse and it didn't get better for her from there. So we find out the Dragon King Festival War pretty much ended once Acnologia showed up, just pretty much wiping out everyone who came and stood in his way, dragon, human, dragon slayer, who what have you, pretty much being a dragon slayer himself. But we know that he bathed in so many dragons' blood, pretty much becoming this ultimate badass that he came to be, and everyone's pretty much like, holy shit, we didn't expect that. And that was pretty much the end of the Dragon King Festival War. So pretty much Acnologia hands down just took it upon himself just to kill for the sake of killing, getting rid of all the dragons, and pretty much leaving everyone in the dust. And after the war, pretty much we see Eileen pretty much and all other dragon slayers that were pretty much becoming dragonified, pretty much being exiled and xenophobed out of society just because they were scaly. Pretty much everyone fearing they would become the new Acnologia. I mean, it was the theory I was thinking about, like everyone could be another Acnologia if they were a dragon slayer, but pretty much we find out that the dragon slayers that we know, the seven, Natsu, Wendy, Gajio, all them, were pretty much had the dragons inside them, which created antibodies, which kept the dragon seed from spreading and pretty much growing, turning them into dragons. But that's what these guys didn't know at beforehand, way back when it all first started. So all these dragon slayers becoming dragons, they didn't have that option and pretty much were, like I said, exiled. Eileen, being one of them, no special treatment whatsoever. And so the dude that she was in a diplomatic marriage with pretty much just like tossed her into jail, beat, tortured, humiliated her, pretty much just like giving her the shittiest treatment a person can get. And as this whole time go on, she kept on saying, I'm pregnant with your child, I'm pregnant with your child, and he kept on denying it, and pretty much just sliced her open right there. That's where we finally see her scar. So pretty much just like proving that there's no child there, but there was. But Eileen was just keeping her under wraps with magic because he said she was pregnant for 3 whole years at that point. 3 whole years in a cage being tortured and whatnot. That's pretty fucked up. But now we see the origins of that and how Erza was just stuck inside Eileen this whole damn time. So if you think about it, Erza was probably soaking up all that Dragon Slayer magic, just like kind of, like I said, maybe it was a passed down trait from mother to child. That's what I was thinking of. So like I said, Erza being like OP and always winning her battles, just like getting this Dragon Slayer magic just put into her, like kind of inherited, soaking it up, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But that dude, man, when he just like pushed Eileen to the point of breaking, she went dragon mode and pretty much turned into a dragon as they feared, and she just whooped some ass, just stomped him, pretty much destroying everything around her. But she still denied the fact that she was a dragon, pretty much saying, I am a human, I detest this body, I just want to be human again. And pretty much went to live on for another few hundred years out in the wilderness, just doing her thing, hating herself, trying to turn herself back into human, until she met Zeref. And Zeref came along pretty much, the dragon? Oh wait, you're a human though, aren't you? Pretty much just showing Zeref's knowledge of magic and everything, and pretty much seeing what's going on with different types of magics. His, like I said, his unfathomable amount of knowledge of magic. Yeah, let's go with that. But pretty much just like out of nowhere, would snap his fingers, turns Eileen back to normal, and she's pretty much shocked, but pretty much would just follow him from there on because he turned her back to human. Now Eileen wasn't exactly cured, because we see further on through the chapter that she is pretty much not 100% human. She is pretty much just a dragon in a human's body. She can't taste, she can't sleep, she can't think properly, and she pretty much drove her insane, and to the point of saying, I want a normal human body, and pretty much going, I have a human within me, I will give birth to it and pretty much put myself back in a human body. She was driven to the brink of madness. But we found out that it didn't happen. I mean, we have Erza, and Eileen's not in Erza, so they couldn't, pretty much combine however Eileen wanted to, transfer consciences, and pretty much she just gave up on her, tossed her aside, and pretty much Erza and Wendy hearing that are just pretty much Wendy kind of detested it a little, like, she's your own child, but even though you did that, I really have no sympathy for you. And Erza pretty much just like, I found my new family, I found my real family, so thanks to you, I don't need you. Now that concludes 515. Now we go to 516, where we see an actual battle between Wendy and Erza against Eileen Bessarion, and we pretty much, it's a whole fight chapter, which is pretty sweet, like how it was going on. Pretty much a little bit more talky, how I've got my family to fight for, so Erza pretty much used that family power. We'll get back into it a little bit, but pretty much used that family power to fight, gather up some more strength against Eileen. Eileen pretty much just like backing her off as usual, just like pretty much treating like she was nothing again, just like she did in the previous chapters when they first fought, which was pretty sweet. Now, bring Wendy into the factor. Now Wendy went Dragon Force mode. Oh, we need more Dragon Force between Natsu, Gajil, and all the other Dragon Slayers. I mean, Wendy, I would say, is more capable because her element is air. Air is everywhere around her. She can grab all the particles, magical particles in the air, and use it to boost her powers to gather and enter that Dragon Slayer mode. Dragon Force mode. Dragon Slayer, Dragon Force. Yeah, Dragon Force mode. While Natsu needs like a golden flame from freaking Go to Jalal, or pretty much just like enter an enraged mode just to get it. Gajil had to be in a tight situation to activate it, so maybe there's a little factor in there between how Dragon Force is able to be used. I mean, we were able to see Sting and Rogue activated pretty easily, but that may be also because of the Rakrama that's installed in the body. That's just my thoughts on it. But anyway, back on to Wendy. Now, I believe that Wendy's enchantments could be boosted by Dragon Force magic. And when I'm saying that is because Erza started getting the upper hand against Eileen, which was pretty sweet seeing that. I mean, we needed a double team battle against Eileen, but she was 100 years old, grabbing all these different magics, and still, even though that these two teamed up against her using these kind of methods, I feel like she should have still put up more of a fight than she did, because Eileen kind of just like got side-handed, side-slapped kind of out of nowhere from Wendy's, like, boom, I distracted you, then Erza went in there and kind of sliced her belly, gave her 2 more scars, just for the fuck of it. And that kind of drove her a little insane again. She kind of lost her mind, which kind of sucked because we're like, okay, you were calm, cool, and collected up to this point. And just from a few battle scars again, I mean, she did have hubris and whatever, so she had a lot of pride within her. So just the fact that these two out of nowhere fucked up her mojo, just kind of messed with her. I could see that happening. But she still should have been able to put up more of a fight than she did. I mean, against Erza, who she was just taunting earlier, and Wendy, who she was just there as backup. And we know Wendy is stronger than she used to be, but she's still not much of a fighter on freaking Eileen's level or Erza's level. So that kind of threw off how that battle could have gone down. Now, the ending of chapter 516 did not see that coming. I mean, we know Erza and Eileen weren't compatible because they were both mother, daughter, and they didn't have any special qualities that connected them to each other. Other than that, Eileen already tried it and it didn't work. However, Wendy and Eileen had some compatibility. Why was that? Because they're both enchanters and they are both dragon slayers. 2 for 2, some things that they could both combine in each other, and Eileen used that to her advantage and took over Wendy. Now, what could possibly happen? Who knows at this point, because we know Erza can't hurt Wendy. She's part of the Fairy Tale Guild. She can't hurt anybody within the guild with a good conscience in her mind. She can't do it. So how will this battle fight out? Will Wendy have the upper hand? Wendy-Eileen combo? Because if Eileen is in Wendy's body, she could probably transfer her magic as well and use that in a new younger body, pretty much saying, alright, I got all these magics, I got some new magic on me as well, I'm gonna fuck you up and you can't do anything about it, which is some pretty savage shit. And also amidst 516 we also saw Natsu again. We see him walking along his path, just trying to find his memories, and he runs into Igneel this time, and pretty much Igneel tells him that, I stopped the dragon seed from spreading among you, unlike all these other dragon slayers from the past, and pretty much, unfortunately, you have the demon seed within you, which is END, and that's pretty much why Natsu's dying, and it looks like Natsu is about to accept his death. I mean, he has no fight within him at the moment, I'm believing, to really say anything about it, because he's already on his deathbed, and he knows this, and Igneel is pretty much just like confirming it. Now, I'm thinking with the Dragon Seed, if it does indeed kill Natsu, it will be a form of rebirth, bringing out E and D. Because Zeref is thinking, okay, once you die, I really have no qualms about dying. So if Natsu dies, Zeref dies. But if Natsu dies by E and D, that's a different story, I'm thinking. Because, like I said, it might be a rebirth, bringing out the demon, Ethereal Natsu Dragneel, to go and fight against Zeref, which Zeref is probably hoping for. At the same time, he might use E and D against Acnologia, if he does indeed show up, or just use it against himself so he can finally meet his peace, meet his death, and finally just go on to the great beyond. But that is just speculation at its finest, at its most. I don't want to say it's finest, that's my theory, but speculation at the most. Speculation that Natsu would be rebirthed by E and D if it does take his life, but it's a 50-50 with Fairy Tail if someone's going to die, especially the main character Natsu. I mean, if they do it that way, that would be pretty damn cool. If Hiro Mashima does something like that, it would redeem, but add an interesting kick back into the story. But like I said, that's just theory and speculation for now. So good fucking stuff right there. I mean, 516 was fan-fucking-tastic with all the stories and everything, with the background and everything. I'll have to get the, fuck it, I'm going for a 9 on this one. I'm going for a 9 on chapter 515. Chapter 516, though, it was good as well. It was almost great, but fucking the whole Eileen getting stomped on out of nowhere, just pretty much losing her cool from 2 people that she was taunting earlier, just kind of threw it out the window a little bit. Not completely out the window, but just like kind of toned it down a bit. I would have given that one as a 9 as well, but I'll rock, I would say an 8 for chapter 516. Almost there, would have been cool if Eileen didn't lose her cool. Chapter 515, a 9. Awesome stuff. Fantastic. Chapter 516, almost awesome. Almost fantastic. Still good, still awesome, but 8. But it still kept its awesomeness with Natsu learning about pretty much his demise, his death, and the whole fight was pretty much awesome as well. Looking forward to 516. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a happy new year. Stay safe. And this is Nigel Ascura signing out. Later.